Before you picture horns, fire, and a monster under the earth, you need to know something. He was beautiful first. That is what made it so dangerous. We called him the Morning Star, not because he owned the light. None of us owned it. We only reflected the glory we were given. But he reflected it so brightly, everyone noticed.
You still remember him like that?
I remember the light. I do not defend what he did with it.
That is the part people miss. Evil does not always walk in looking ugly. Sometimes it walks in looking gifted, admired, and almost impossible to question. In those days, the songs rose clean. The host moved in order. Every voice knew where the praise belonged. And Lucifer stood among us, shining like he had never once wondered if the light should stop at him.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective.
Attention is not sin by itself. But if you stare at it long enough, it starts whispering, maybe this was always yours. Lucifer began lingering after the songs ended, not praying, not serving, just standing where the last echoes of admiration still felt warm. He has been standing there a long time. I know. At first, I told myself it was harmless. He was radiant. Others admired him. That was not new. But something had shifted. He was no longer receiving beauty as a gift. He was measuring what it could get him.
Do you ever wonder why some are made to shine more brightly than others?
Brightness is not rank. It is responsibility. I tried to pull him back before the thought grew teeth. I told him what every created thing must remember. The light is not ours to keep.
Let their praise rise past you. Do not catch it in your hands.
He nodded like he heard me, but his eyes stayed on the reflection beneath his feet. That was the first time I wondered if the mirror had started preaching to him. The scariest lies do not start with, betray God. They start with, maybe you deserve a little more. I found him near the crystal sea, staring down at his own reflection. The water was clear enough to show his face, but dangerous enough to let him forget where the light came from.
It is strange, Michael, to carry so much beauty and still be told to pass all praise upward.
That sentence was small, but it made the air change. He did not say hated the throne, not yet. He only sounded tired of not being the center.
You were not made smaller because praise passes through you. You are safest when it does.
I wanted him to laugh, to shake it off, to say I was reading too much to a passing mood. Instead, he looked at me like I had just defended a ceiling he was starting to hate.
Maybe safety is not the highest thing a being can desire.
There it was, not rebellion in full armor, not yet. Just one polished sentence with pride hiding inside it. I left the crystal sea with one fear in me. Lucifer had stopped asking where the light came from. He had started asking why it should ever leave him. He did not start by shouting, "Follow me." That would have been too obvious. He started by asking questions that made obedience sound embarrassing. Few began lingering around him, younger voices, curious eyes, the kind of beings who did not want to rebel, not at first. They only wanted to feel important.
He says we were made for more.
More of what?
That was the genius of the poison.
It never defined more honor, more freedom, more voice, more height. The word stayed empty, so every restless heart could pour its own hunger into it. It sounded wise if you did not listen too closely. That is how pride works. It borrows the shape of depth. I am only asking what everyone has wondered. What if obedience was meant to be a beginning, not a boundary?
I stepped between him and one of my own. I had seen enough.
Do not call a fall a beginning just because the first step feels exciting.
A question can be honest, but his questions were no longer searching for truth. They were recruiting dissatisfaction.
The follower looked away from me and back to Lucifer. That tiny movement told me the whisper had already done damage.
There is a moment when you stop arguing with a thought and realize the person has started loving it. That was the night I knew I might lose him. I found him alone, away from the songs, away from the host. No audience this time, no reflections to flatter him, just Lucifer, me, and silence he had not yet learned to fear.
You can still step back.
From what? A thought? He said thought like it was harmless, but I had watched that thought collect voices, bend language, and turn gratitude into insult.
This is not curiosity anymore. You are teaching others to resent the place they were given.
And if the place is too small?
There. No poetry. No soft question. Just the blade underneath.
I looked at him and saw two things at once, what he had been and what he was choosing to become. That is a painful thing to see in someone you once trusted.
Not every question is rebellion, but this one has already bowed to pride. Do not make a throne out of your reflection.
Maybe I was made to rise higher than a reflection.
That was the last time I heard him sound almost like himself. After that, he stopped hiding the direction of his desire.
Lucifer never said, "Worship me." Not at first. He was smarter than that. He said, "Maybe you have been underestimating yourself."
That sentence sounds harmless, right? Almost encouraging. That was the problem. Pride rarely enters the room looking like pride. It enters wearing something that looks a lot like confidence.
He makes it sound like we have been asleep.
Then ask who benefits when you wake angry.
His little circle grew. Not all at once. One conversation here, one question there, a compliment sharpened into resentment, a doubt polished until it looked brave. I am not asking you to hate the order. I am asking whether you have ever wondered why your glory must always pass through someone else's name. There, he did it again. He took a gift and made it sound like theft.
What if he is not wrong? What if we were made for more than reflecting?
The frightening thing was not that they all agreed with him. The frightening thing was that some of them wanted him to be right. That was when I realized the danger had moved. It was no longer trapped inside Lucifer's heart. It had started finding homes in other voices. The next trick was uglier. He stopped attacking the light directly. He attacked the word obedience. Obedience had never been humiliation. It was harmony. It was every voice knowing where the song belonged. But Lucifer knew if he could make harmony sound like a cage, he could make rebellion sound like a door. Tell me honestly, does it never ache being told your highest purpose is to point away from yourself? Some looked down when he said it. That told me he had touched something, not truth. Hunger. There is a difference.
Maybe we have been calling smallness humility.
Humility is not smallness. It is seeing clearly.
I knew Lucifer heard me. I also knew he did not care. The room was no longer a conversation. It was becoming a stage. If you must disappear for glory to be called pure, perhaps someone taught you to fear your own brilliance. He did not say, disobey. He did not need to. He had made obedience sound like self-hatred. The rest would follow. That night, I watched 3 of them stop singing before the final note. Not loudly, not dramatically, but heaven heard the silence. Lucifer's favorite lie was simple. If there is a boundary, Someone must be stealing from you. That lie still works, by the way. It works because nobody likes hearing no, but not every no is cruelty. Some limits are what keep a gift from turning into a god. Why call it a gift if it must always be returned? Because holding a gift is not the same as becoming its source. He hated that answer. I could see it. Not because it was weak, because it was true. And truth is unbearable when you have already fallen in love with a lie. Maybe source is only a word, used by those afraid of being surpassed. There are sentences you hear, and you know they did not begin in wisdom. That was one of them.
You are not being held down. You are being held in truth. Stop calling truth a chain because pride wants height.
Some of them flinched when I said pride. Lucifer did not. He looked almost relieved that I had finally named it. Then perhaps pride is only what the low call the desire to rise. And there it was. The word fall had not been spoken yet, but he had already chosen the direction. The moment a lie gets followers, it stops sounding like a lie. It starts sounding like a movement.
Maybe Michael fears what Lucifer is brave enough to say. You think warning you is fear?
They began gathering in corners after the songs. Not in open rebellion, not yet, but their voices changed. Softer when they praised, louder when they questioned. That is how fast loyalty can be rewritten. Yesterday, Meitzken meant I loved them. Today, Lucifer had taught them to hear it as control.
Do not be harsh with Michael. He loves the order he understands. Some cannot imagine anything beyond the place they were assigned.
He defended me with a blade in his hand. That was his new art. Then one of them stepped behind him, not beside him, behind him. It was such a small movement, but every war starts with someone deciding where to stand.
If he rises, I rise with him.
I looked at Lucifer. He did not look surprised. That told me this was not the beginning of his plan. It was the first time I had seen the plan working.
There comes a point when a whisper gets tired of hiding. That day, Lucifer let the whole host hear it. The songs had barely ended when his followers remained standing together. Not scattered, not casual, together. That alone made the air tighten.
This is no longer private.
No, it is not.
I ask only what many have been afraid to ask. Were we made only to echo, or were we made to rise?
He made echo sound empty. He made rise sound holy. That is how he bent the room before anyone realized it was bending.
You were made for glory, yes, but not glory stolen from its source. Do not confuse height with holiness.
You speak as if wanting more makes us corrupt!
Wanting what was never yours will.
Then let every voice decide whether it was made to bow forever!
The host heard it. The line was no longer hidden. One side still called it warning. The other had already learned to call it oppression. No sword had been drawn. No trumpet had sounded. But heaven had split in the place words split first. Inside, desire. The first sign was not a sword. It was the color of the songs changing.
You may think songs cannot change color. In heaven, they can. Praise had always risen clear, like light moving through crystal. But that day, some voices bent inward. The sound came back red.
Michael, do you see that?
Yes, their song is no longer passing upward. That is what pride does. It takes what was meant to rise and bends it back toward the singer. The sound still looks like worship from a distance, but close up, it is starving for applause. Do you feel it? That ache in your chest is not corruption. It is the beginning of becoming honest. He called hunger honesty. He called resentment courage. And because the words sounded beautiful, they did not notice the poison. Then the first rank moved. Not all of them, just enough. A line of lights shifted behind Lucifer, and the space they left behind went cold.
If he is willing to rise, I will not stay small.
That was the moment the sky above us darkened at the edges. Lucifer looked at the red tin stars and smiled like he had just been proven right. There came a point when calling him the morning star felt like lying. He was still radiant. That was the hard part. His face had not become ugly.
His voice had not become harsh. The danger was that he could still look like light while leading others away from it.
Some still call him Morning Star.
A name can become a mask if we refuse to see what someone is choosing.
You know that feeling when everyone remembers who someone used to be, so nobody wants to admit who they are becoming? Heaven felt that.
They call me proud because I will not apologize for being bright. No, that was never the issue. No one asked him to apologize for being bright. We asked him to stop claiming the light as his own.
You are not being punished for shining. You are being warned because you want the praise to stop at you.
Then perhaps I should stop passing it on. When he said that, the old name broke in my mouth. Morning Star no more. A star that refuses its source does not become brighter. It begins to fall. Then war broke out in heaven. Not because the throne was weak, because rebellion had finally stopped pretending it was a conversation.
He was no longer only Lucifer in the room. The shape of what he had chosen was becoming visible. Dragon, accuser, deceiver. Not because beauty vanished, but because truth named what beauty had been hiding. Michael, they are moving.
Stand firm. Do not hate them. Do not follow them.
I know what you are expecting. Fire, rage, a clean villain, a clean victory. It was not clean. Some of those across from us had once sang beside us.
You can remain where you were placed. I will rise beyond the place assigned to me.
No created thing rises by stealing what belongs above it.
Then the lines met. Light against corrupted light. Order against hunger dressed as freedom. It was the sound of a lie finally hitting the truth it could not bend. He fought like he still believed height could prove him holy. And for one terrible moment, I saw the old brilliance inside the dragon's shadow. The hardest part of that war was not facing what he had become. It was remembering what he had been. In the middle of battle, I heard his voice cut through the noise. Not loud, not furious, familiar. That was the cruelest choice he could have made. Michael, you remember me?
Of course I remembered. I remembered the clean songs. I remembered the brightness before it turned inwards. I remembered laughing with him before every word became a mirror. I remember enough to know you are not speaking like yourself.
Or maybe I am finally speaking without fear. You of all should know I was made for more than this.
That was the old trap in a new form. He wanted me to confuse affection with agreement.
I remember your light. I remember your voice. I remember what you were. But memory is not permission.
His face changed when I said that, not because I wounded him, because I took away the last excuse he had borrowed from our past. Then stand with the order you love, and watch what it costs you. That was when I stopped hoping he would turn mid-battle. The friend I remembered was gone. The rebellion in front of me remained. At some point, mercy stopped sounding like, please come back, and start sounding like you cannot stay here.
The line has to be held.
It will be.
That was not cruelty. It was clarity. Heaven is not an empty room where any desire can live if it speaks beautifully enough.
Do you hear them? They would rather cast us out than admit we were made for height.
Even then, he made consequence sound like persecution. That is what pride does when truth finally closes the door. His followers tightened around him. Some looked afraid. Some looked thrilled. That broke my heart more than I expected. The fear was still reachable. The thrill was not.
There is no place here for rebellion. You wanted to rise above your place. You will be cast down from it.
I did not say it with pleasure. I said it because there was nothing left to negotiate with a lie that wanted a throne. The battle surged again. But something had changed. Lucifer was no longer fighting to be understood. He was fighting because he had already chosen being cast down over bowing back. The first thing Rebellion lost was not the battle. It was the glow. Lucifer had told them the light was his, that he had been held back, that once he rose, they would finally see what he really was. Then the battle pressed in, and the light around him began to thin.
Why is it fading?
It is not fading. Stand firm!
Have you ever watched someone get exactly what they demanded, and suddenly realize it does not make them bigger? That was happening to him in front of everyone.
Do not look at the light.
Look at me.
That sentence told the whole story. Do not look at the light. Look at me. He had finally said out loud what pride had been whispering all along.
He still looks bright.
Bright is not the same as holy.
Then his radiance cracked. Not like glass, more like a song losing its note. The beauty was still there, but the worship was gone from it. For the first time, some of his followers looked at him and did not see a sunrise. They saw a fire trying to survive without a source. He promised them height, but the first thing they felt was the ground disappearing under them.
The dragon fought. His angels fought with him. And for a while, noise made it look like power. But noise is not victory.
You said we would rise!
We are rising. Do not let them frighten you.
But his words were doing less now.
That is what happens when a lie meets consequence.
At first it sounds inspiring.
Then it starts repeating itself.
I will without your glory. Hold the line. Do not answer pride with pride. Let truth stand. The line holds.
Then it became clear. Not all at once, but clearly enough for heaven to know. He was not winning. The dragon and his angels did not prevail.
Why are we being pushed back?
Because a fall can wear the language of rising for only so long. Lucifer looked behind him and saw fear in the eyes of those who had followed him for glory. That was the second thing rebellion lost. Confidence. Lucifer wanted a higher place. The judgment was that he could not keep even the one he had.
Heaven is not just a location. It is order. It is truth. It is worship moving in the right direction. Rebellion cannot live there and call itself misunderstood.
You will cast us out because we refuse to stay beneath you?
You are being revealed because you refuse to remain in truth.
He kept trying to make it sound like rank, like jealousy, like someone was scared of his potential. But this was never about potential. It was about direction.
The places where they had once stood began to feel empty before they even moved. That is the terrible thing about rebellion. You use yours inside before you lose it outside.
Our places, they are closing. Do not look back!
Then the truth settled over all of us. There was no longer any place for them in heaven. Not because mercy had failed, because rebellion had refused it. Their place is gone. Lucifer looked upward one last time, still thinking height would answer him. But there was only one direction left for pride. He wanted to rise above his place. Instead, the great dragon was cast down.
Do not imagine this as two equal powers fighting for heaven. The Maker was never in danger. The throne was never shaking. Rebellion was being removed from the place it tried to steal.
You chose the direction when you rejected the source.
The light around him broke into pieces that could no longer pretend to be dawn.
His beauty did not save him. His followers did not save him. His words did not save him.
The one who had loved being called Morning Star was now being revealed by other names: Dragon, Devil, Satan, the deceiver of the whole world.
He is falling.
Yes. That is the truth pride hates most. It can talk like a pheasant all the way down, but falling is still falling.
This is not over!
He was right about one thing. His place in heaven was over, but his hatred was not, and earth had not yet heard his voice. A proud heart rarely falls alone. That is why lies are never private. His angels fell with him. Some had sounded so certain minutes before, so awake, so brave. Now their voices were breaking as they realized the movement they joined had a direction after all.
This is not right. He said we would be free!
Freedom without truth had carried them exactly where truth said it would. Down. Away from light. Away from song. Away from the place they had once called home.
When the last of them was cast down, heaven did not cheer. That might surprise you, but holy judgment is not entertainment.
The places where they stood are empty.
Let the emptiness be remembered. The war in heaven ended not with laughter, but with silence. Clean silence. Grieving silence. The kind that comes after a lie has finally been removed from the room. But below us, another story was waiting. A garden, a tree, a human ear. The dragon had lost his place in heaven. Now he would look for a voice on earth. After he fell, heaven went quiet, not peaceful quiet. The kind of quiet that comes after something beautiful has been broken and removed.
The songs returned, but they returned carefully. Every voice knew what had happened. Every empty place remembered the one who had stood there.
It is clean again.
Yes, but clean does not mean untouched by grief. That is another part people miss. We did not celebrate his fall like a victory party. We understood what it meant. A creature made for light had chosen darkness and dragged others with him. Still, I could not relax. The war above had ended, but the lie had not died. Lies do not need a throne to keep speaking. Sometimes they only need a listener.
You think he will keep going? Pride does not rebrand simply because it falls. Sometimes it only looks for someone lower to blame.
And below us, there was a world still young enough to trust every beautiful voice. A garden, a tree, a woman who had not yet learned how dangerous a question could be. He could not keep his place in heaven, so he went looking for someone on earth who still had one.
The garden was not a battlefield. That almost makes it worse. No swords, no shouting, just trees, water, fruit, and innocence that had never needed to defend itself.
He had learned something in heaven. A direct attack is easy to see. A question is softer. A question can walk through a door before anyone realizes it is carrying a knife. Did God actually say?
I knew that tone. I had heard it near the Crystal Sea. I had heard it in corners after the songs. Same poison. Smaller cup.
Did God actually say, "You shall not eat of any tree in the garden"? Notice the move. He did not start by denying God. He started by making God's word sound heavier than it was. The woman turned toward the voice. That was all he needed at first. Not obedience, not sin, just attention.
Temptation often begins by making generosity look suspicious.
God had filled the garden with life, trees everywhere, food everywhere, beauty everywhere. But the serpent pointed at the one boundary and made it sound like the whole story.
We may eat of the fruit of the trees in the garden.
She was right, and yet something had already shifted. The conversation had moved from abundance to restriction. That is one of the oldest tricks in the dark.
But God said, "You shall not eat of the fruit of the tree that is in the midst of the garden, neither shall you touch it, lest you die."
The serpent did not interrupt. That is what makes him dangerous. He lets you talk long enough to feel like the doubt was your idea.
You will not surely die.
There it was, the first direct strike. Not a sword, not fire, a sentence placed right against God's word.
And once he made death sound negotiable, he was ready to make disobedience sound like wisdom. In heaven, he said, "You were made for more." In the garden, he changed the words, but kept the poison.
For God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened.
That was the hook. He made God sound like someone hiding your future from you. It is a powerful lie, not because it is loud, because it sounds personal. What if you are being held back? What if the rule is not protection, but jealousy? What if disobedience is the only way to become yourself?
Opened?
You will be like God, knowing good and evil.
There it was again. The old hunger. Not gratitude for the garden. Not trust in the Maker. The promise of becoming like God without God.
The fruit had not changed. The tree had not moved. Only the story around it had been rewritten. And that was enough to make her look again.
The most dangerous moment was not when she heard the lie. It was when the lie started making the fruit look different.
She looked at the tree again. Same fruit, same branch, same boundary. But now, it looked good for food, pleasant to the eyes, and desirable to make one wise.
I had seen this before. Lucifer staring at his reflection, a follower stepping behind him, a song bending inward. It always looks small before it breaks something huge.
To be wise.
Her hand lifted. That is the mercy and terror of created freedom. A hand can receive, a hand can refuse, a hand can reach past the word that was meant to keep it alive.
Then she took the fruit. One movement, so small you could miss it. So large, the whole human story would feel the weight of it.
My eyes will be opened.
She ate. And in that moment, the serpent did not need to roar. He had already won one he came for, a creature doubting the goodness of the one who made her.
The serpent promised their eyes would open. He did not mention the first thing they would see was shame.
Eve ate. Then she gave the fruit to Adam, who was with her, and he ate too. One bite became two. One doubt became a shared silence.
What have we done?
I thought it would feel different.
That is how the lie works. It sells you height, then hands you hiding. It sells you wisdom, then makes you afraid to be seen. Their eyes were opened, yes, but not into freedom, into self-consciousness, into fear.
Do not look at me.
Into the terrible new thought, we need to cover ourselves.
Then help me cover this.
They had been naked and unashamed. Now they were covered and afraid. That is not an upgrade. That is the oldest downgrade in human history. Then they heard the sound of the Lord God in the garden, and the two people who had once walked in trust did the first thing fear teaches every heart to do. They hid. The first thing sin taught humans was not how to be powerful. It taught them how to hide.
They hid among the trees. Think about that. The same garden that had been their home became a place to disappear. He knew where they were. Of course he knew. The question was not for his information. It was for their confession. I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid.
There it was. Fear had entered the human voice. Not awe, not wonder, fear. The serpent promised opened eyes, and the first thing opened was distance. Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree of which I commanded you not to eat?
The question went straight to the wound, not to embarrass them, to expose the lie before it could keep growing in the dark.
And then came the second thing sin taught humans to do. After hiding failed, they started blaming. The moment they were caught, love did not come out first. Blame did.
The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me fruit of the tree, and I ate.
Listen closely. He blamed her, then he almost blamed the gift giver. That is how fast shame starts rewriting love. Only a little while before, he had called her bone of my bones. Now, under the weight of fear, she became the woman you gave me.
The serpent deceived me, and I ate.
She was telling the truth. The serpent deceived her. But decision does not make disobedience disappear. It only shows how the wound entered. This was the same poison again. In heaven, Lucifer blamed the boundary. In the garden, humans blamed each other. Pride always needs someone else to carry the weight. But the serpent was still there, quiet, watching, probably thinking he had won the room. Then the Lord turned toward him. The serpent got the first lie into human history. But he did not get the final word. The Lord did not negotiate with him. No debate, no platform. The deceiver who had twisted a question now had to hear a sentence. Because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock and above all beasts of the field. Judgment came first. But if you listen closely, mercy was already moving inside it. The serpent would bruise. Yes, but he would also be crushed. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring. A war had just moved from heaven into human history. But this time, the serpent would not be the only one moving. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. That was the first hint, not the whole rescue yet. Just enough light to show that the serpent's victory would bleed, but it would not reign forever. The dragon had lost heaven. The serpent had wounded earth. But now a promise had entered the story. And promises from the Maker do not die quietly.
If you think this story is only about a fallen angel and a garden snake, you are missing the part that still finds us. The words change, the voice changes, the package changes, but the lie is old. Look at yourself long enough, and you will start believing the light should stop with you. It may not sound like rebellion at first. It may sound like confidence, healing, ambition, finally knowing your worth. But listen carefully. Does it lead you towards gratitude or toward grabbing what was never yours?
Do you still remember him as the morning star?
I remember what pride did to borrowed light. That is why I tell it. Not so you stare at the darkness, so you recognize the whisper for it was the whisper before it teaches you to hide. The serpent the story, but he did not write the ending. The maker spoke judgment, yes, but inside that judgment, he also planted a promise. So when pride whispers, you deserve to be your own source. Remember the morning star. Borrowed light is beautiful until it tries to become the sun.